Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're grateful for you being with us this Wednesday afternoon, first day of November. And the campaign to try to destroy Donald Trump continues. This time it's making a stop in Colorado. And we welcome our guest, Mike Davis, onto the show. He's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project and the former law clerk for Justice Gorsuch. You can find him on Twitter at MRDDMIA. Mike, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
From my understanding is you're in Colorado right now, where this next step in trying to keep Donald Trump from becoming the president of the United States again is making its next effort. What can you tell us?
Well, I'm in Denver this week for this trial by these Democrats who are trying to disqualify President Trump from the Colorado presidential ballot based upon a post-Civil War constitutional amendment to disqualify Confederates, fighters who engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States during the Civil War. The Democrats have dusted off this provision from 155 years ago, and they think they're just going to take President Trump off the ballot, starting in Colorado, get a bad precedent in a blue state, and then use that precedent in swing states like maybe Michigan. And I'll tell you what, this is clearly illegal. It's clearly unconstitutional. But unfortunately, it looks like these Democrats are going to win here in Colorado with this clearly biased Denver District Court judge and this clearly left-wing Colorado Supreme Court.
Man, that's always my question is, we see these wild legal challenges or charges that come against the former president. My first question is always, is it possible that, as absurd as they seem to someone like me or like you with the legal expertise you have, that they could still manage to get a victory out of this? And you're saying, yes, in Colorado, they just might.
Yeah, they probably almost certainly will, because they have this Denver District Court judge, Sarah Wallace, who just got appointed to the bench by Democrat Governor Jared Polis. She was named in August of 2022, starting in January of 2023. In October of 2022, she donated right before the midterm elections to this Democrat PAC, Colorado Turnout Project. And the sole mission of this Colorado Turnout Project PAC is to chase out of office Republicans who supported President Trump on January 6th. So now this week, this judge, after she took office in January, is now hearing this case to try to chase President Trump off the ballot in Colorado for January 6th. How the hell is she not biased? Trump's lawyers filed a motion to recuse. She said on the first day of the trial on Monday, yeah, I made that donation, I forgot about it, but I can still be fair. Well, that's not the legal standard. Her subjective belief whether she can be fair is not the legal standard. Objectively, the public is not going to think that she can be fair when she just donated to an anti-Trump January 6th PAC last year.
Wow. Yeah. It's very, very frightening for people to remember in their minds that statement from Donald Trump about it's not him they're after the American people. And Donald Trump is going state to state to state right now. And it seems as though getting a biased version of our justice system against him, I would assume there's an appeal process that will be put into play here. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I mean, it's an election challenge in Colorado. I'd spend 80% of my time in Colorado. I'm licensed to practice law in Colorado. There's an expedited appeal to the Colorado Supreme Court, but unfortunately, the Democrats dominate every statewide office, just about every office in Colorado, because elections have consequences. And when you go to all-mail ballots and you legalize weed, and every dirtball from New York and California moves to Colorado, like cultural COVID, they destroyed Colorado. So there's no chance that Trump's going to get a fair trial with a biased judge. He's almost certainly going to lose at the Colorado Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court of the United States may have to actually put on their big boy pants with their lifetime tenure and pay protection and actually do their job and take a Trump case.
Man, 370 days away from the November 5th, 2024 election. And I keep hearing these when I have conversations with you, Mike Davis, other legal experts that we talk to. The Supreme Court is usually a part of the conversation. There's a time crunch here, and it seems like the judicial system in this country doesn't necessarily move at a super fast pace. I suppose these would be expedited. What does that look like for Donald Trump and the voters in Colorado who might like to check the box for Donald Trump on their ballot in 2024?
Well, these are Republican-ending tactics by the Democrats, and these Republicans who think this is going away when Trump goes away, they just greatly misunderstand what we're up against. They don't seem to remember that we've had 100 years of Marxism and 100 million people have been killed around the world. These Democrats are playing for keeps, and this is not going to end well. The Supreme Court needs to understand that if the Democrats can throw the leading presidential candidate off the ballot and take that choice away from the American people, we're not going to have a country left when this is done.
We're speaking with Mike Davis, and he is in Colorado right now. He's the president of the Article 3 Project. I encourage you to follow him on Twitter. We've talked about, you mentioned January 6th and how this is kind of predicated on the idea that Donald Trump is the genesis of the insurrection on January 6th. What proof do they have that, like, how do they tie that to him legally? He's been impeached for it, and the Senate didn't convict him for it. Where do they get that foundation for this trial?
It's nonsense. The only way you can disqualify any office holder under the 14th Amendment is as Chief Justice Samuel Chase ruled back in 1869. Congress has to pass a federal criminal statute on insurrection or rebellion. The U.S. attorney has to charge that defendant under that statute. A federal jury needs to find him unanimously guilty with evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. The federal judge has to convict, and it has to be upheld on appeal. That is the only way under the 14th Amendment you can disqualify. The Democrats don't have evidence of insurrection. The Democrats spent tens of millions of dollars with the January 6th committee and tens of millions of dollars with the Biden Justice Department, including Jack Smith. If that evidence existed, they would have it. It was not an insurrection. It was a lawful protest permitted by the National Park Service that devolved into a riot on January 6th. It was not an insurrection.
So, Mike Davis, I'm thinking about the fact that Donald Trump might be taken off of the ballot in Colorado, and how in a primary season there are going to be people who say, and I've looked at every single person in the Republican primary and said they'd all be better than the alternative on the left. But you might see political collateral here for other people in the primary saying, you know what, this is so complicated with Donald Trump. We need to have somebody else run instead of Donald Trump so that we can vindicate Donald Trump in these issues. I know you're a strong Trump supporter. What do you say to those people right now who are waffling about all of the baggage and complications around the man, Donald Trump, who they know at the same time is being politically persecuted in the justice system?
I would say that Trump has the primary locked up. He's winning by like 50 points, maybe even more. People need to rally behind President Trump, because if they can take out President Trump through this election interference, this lawfare, there are 2 impeachments for nonsense, there are 4 bogus indictments for non-crimes, there's civil fraud lawsuit for the non-fraud of a businessman paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full on time as agreed with interest. If they can't take him out with that, and they're going to try to just take him off the ballot, they're going to try to gag him illegally, unconstitutionally in his court proceedings, and then just take him off the ballot. President Trump is in their way. It's not going to stop with President Trump. They are going after Christians praying outside of abortion clinics and parents at school board meetings. This isn't stopping with President Trump, and Republicans need to wake up.
Do you believe, last question for you before we let you go here, speaking with Mike Davis right now, do you believe that in the midst of all of these challenges, Colorado included, where they're trying to take him off the ballot, that Donald Trump still can win in 370 days in 2024?
I am very, very confident that not only can he win, he's going to win. He's going to beat President Biden like a drum on November 5th, 2024.
We appreciate you, Mike Davis. Thank you for what you're doing in Colorado, and thank you for coming on to talk to us about it today.
Thank you.
Of course. We were speaking there with Mike Davis. He is the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, also the former law clerk for Justice Gorsuch, a lot of legal expertise and a warrior. As we move through this campaign season for justice, I understand that there are people out there who don't love Donald Trump, but it does not make sense to me how you cannot see that Donald Trump is being politically persecuted with a justice system that is wielded under the Biden administration.